discuss about the types of elasticity of supply. Right? Now in this case, what is elasticity of supply? It is a ratio of what? If you remember your elasticity of demand, in the same way you can remember the supply elasticity. It is the percentage or proportionate change in quantity supplied divided by proportionate change in the price. That means elasticity of supply is nothing but it shows how quantity supplied behave as a result of unit change in the price of the commodity. If price change of the commodity changes by 1%, by what percentage term the quantity supplied increases in the market, increases or decreases in the market. This is what elasticity of supply is. Now this elasticity of supply value is always positive because there is a direct relationship between price and the quantity supplied. In case of elasticity of demand, numerical value is negative because there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. Since here it is the relationship is positive, we get a direct relationship, we get the positive value of elasticity of supply. And this value may range between two different values, I told you last time. 0 and the infinity. If the numerator is 0, elasticity of supply will be 0, and numerator will be 0 means if there is no quantity supplied as a result of increase in the price or decrease in the price. If suppose there is absolute change in the quantity supplied for no change in the price, denominator will be 0. Anything divided by 0, it will become infinity. Between the 0 and infinity, we divide elasticity of supply into 5 different types. We shall discuss these different types today. This is what elasticity of supply is. Proportionate change, the numerical value is, formula is this: change in quantity supplied divided by the original quantity supplied, change in price divided by change in price divided by original price of the commodity. And there are these 5 different types of elasticity. If elasticity of supply value becomes 0, this is perfectly inelastic supply, perfectly inelastic. If it is less than 1, it is inelastic. If it is equal to 1, it is unit elasticity. If it is greater than 1, it is elastic supply. And if it is infinity, this becomes perfectly elastic supply. Now perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic, these situations are very rarely we find. Very rarely we find. Now we are coming to these different types one by one. Let us see and discuss the characteristics of the graph of the supply curve graph. We shall see how it behaves, what will be its shape. Now first is the perfectly inelastic. In this case, this is the supply curve which is parallel to the price axis. In case of perfectly inelastic supply curve is parallel to the price axis. This shows that a price increases. Suppose the original price is P0, price increases from P0 to P2, the quantity supplied OQS is not changing, it remains same. The product cannot be increased, supply of the product cannot be increased even if the price goes up. And if the price comes down from P0 to P1, then also the same quantity is supplied in the market. And it happens in case of certain rare items. In case of auctions, even if the price goes up, quantity supplied cannot be increased for some antique products or many of them. If suppose that the Mahatma Gandhi's watch, it is auction. If it is auction, even if the price you like to pay more, then also the number of item cannot be increased. Similarly, certain very rare paintings, suppose Mona Lisa painting, it cannot be increased. There is no second Mona Lisa painting. Duplicate copies I am not talking about. The original Mona Lisa painting, there is one. Even if price goes up, supply cannot be increased. It is perfectly inelastic. And in this case, supply curve is parallel to the y-axis where price is denominated. Second, this is an example of this, numerical example, just for your understanding I put it here. Original price is 10,000. If it goes up to 50,000 also, the same quantity is supplied and price elasticity, ultimately it becomes 0. If there is no change in the quantity supplied, 1 minus 1, this is 0. So ultimately the numerator will become 0 and the whole ratio will become 0, and it shows it perfectly inelastic supply. Coming to the next, inelastic supply. In this case, percentage change in quantity supplied is less than percentage change in the price. Numerator value of the ratio of elasticity of supply is less than the denominator. That means percentage change in quantity supplied is lesser than percentage change in the price. That is why we get the ratio less than 1. And in this case, supply curve is steeper. Supply curve is steeper. And numerically, if we see that suppose the price changes by 10%, there is 10% increase in the price of the commodity, supply of that particular commodity will increase by more than 10%. It will increase by more than 10%. It will be increasing by less than 10% inelastic supply. Price increases by 10%, supply of that commodity will be increasing by less than 10%. In that case, the ratio will be less than 1. This is an example for inelastic supply. Here price increases from 10 to 15. And accordingly, the supply of that commodity increases from 25 to 30. If you look into percentage term, from 10 to 15, price increases by exactly 50%. There is 50% increase in the price, but supply increases from 25 to 30. That means by how many percent? How much percentage is this? 25 to 30, there is increase of 5. 5 is 20% of 25. Price increases, quantity supplied increases by 20%, while price increases by 50%. 20% divided by 50%, it comes to 0.4. It is less than 1. That is why it is inelastic supply. Then comes unit elasticity. In case of unit elasticity, percentage change in quantity supplied is exactly equal to the percentage change in the price. That means for 10% increase in the price, supply will also increase by exactly 10%. So that is why elasticity value is equal to 1, and the supply curve starts from the origin. The supply curve starts from the origin. You must remember, when the elasticity of supply is 1, supply curve will always be starting from the origin. If we look into a numerical example for this, you should first draw the straight line, then you draw the other lines, right? Otherwise it will not be a straight line. You draw a straight line supply curve starting from the origin and then fix up the two different points on the x-axis. This is a numerical example. Here there is an increase of 50% price, and simultaneously there is an increase of 50% in the quantity supplied, 20 to 30, 10 to 15. So ultimately this elasticity of supply becomes exactly equal to 1. Next is your elastic supply. In this case, percentage change in quantity supplied is more than the percentage change in the price. Here numerator will be more than the denominator, so the ratio yields ultimately a value greater than 1. So elasticity of supply is greater than 1, and the supply curve in this case is flatter. Supply curve in this case is flatter. In case of inelastic supply, we got a steep supply curve, but here elasticity of supply is flatter. Now for different type of products, commodities, supply elasticity becomes different. In case of necessary goods, in case of luxury goods, also, and moreover in case of perishable goods and durable goods, sometimes these elasticities are different. So there are certain factors also. We shall discuss all these factors later. This is an example for elastic supply. Here from 10 to 15 the price increases, and quantity supplied increases by more than 100%. Price increases by 50%, but quantity supplied increases by 125%. So it becomes 222.25, this elasticity. Then comes perfectly elastic supply. Perfectly elastic supply. In this case, for a small change in the price, there may be, that is so negligible that it is almost equal to 1. We assume that there is almost no change in the price or a very minor change in the price that leads to infinitely large change in the quantity supplied. So price is almost same. At OP price, the elasticity is infinite, which is parallel to the quantity supplied axis. Now there are two methods for measuring elasticity of supply, and one method is already we have discussed. This is the percentage method, and second one is geometric method. In case of percentage method, elasticity of supply is measured by a ratio of percentage change in the quantity supplied divided by percentage change in the price of the commodity. That is the formula we have already discussed, and we have estimated different types of elasticity. Geometric or point method is used in case of supply curve which is a straight line. It can also be used for a curve, because in that case we simply use a tangent at a particular point. Let us assume that the supply curve is a straight line, and for that supply curve, any point on that supply curve, we want to estimate the elasticity. This is a supply curve, and by geometric method we want to ascertain the length, the elasticity on any point on this supply curve. So in this case what we do, we extend the supply curve to the left so that it intersects the x-axis. or quantity supplied axis. Then we draw a perpendicular from the point on which we want to estimate the elasticity. In this geometric or point method, elasticity of supply, like your elasticity of demand that we estimated earlier, the same concept will be following. And what was the elasticity of demand in case of the geometric method? ES, ED, EP, কি আছিলে geometric method? Length of the lower segment of the demand curve divided by length of the upper segment. The same way here what we do, we say horizontal length of horizontal segment divided by quantity supplied. Length of the horizontal segment divided by the quantity supplied. Horizontal segment is nothing but, suppose this is B, this is C, and this is O. Horizontal segment is BC and quantity supplied is OC. We can measure these two values. If we plot the supply curve on the graph paper, then on any point if we choose to estimate the elasticity of supply, then we draw a perpendicular on the quantity supplied axis. Then we extend the supply curve to the left so that it intersects the x-axis. And then finally we can measure these distances. This is the percentage method we had already discussed. There are two methods, percentage or proportionate method, and geometric or the point method. Percentage method we had already written, so I can skip this percentage method. This is this geometric method. Here, this is the length of the horizontal segment divided by quantity supplied. So this is a supply curve. This we extend it to the left so that it intersects the x-axis, and we estimate the length of this horizontal segment as well as the quantity supplied. Length of the horizontal segment and the quantity supplied. Now, in this case, what we find that length of the horizontal segment is more than the quantity supplied OC. So in this case, the elasticity is greater than 1. Elasticity is greater than 1. So ultimately what we can infer, that if a supply curve starts from the y-axis or the axis where price is represented, then this elasticity is always greater than 1. If the supply curve originates from the y-axis, the supply curve is elasticity of supply is greater than 1. In this case, the supply curve originates from 0. And if we estimate this length of the horizontal segment as well as the quantity supplied, we find that both these two are equal. PC and OC, these two are equal. And in this case, we find elasticity is equal to 1. In the earlier case also, we found that when the elasticity is unity, I told you that supply curve originates from 1. And in this method also we experience the same thing. If the supply curve originates from 0, ultimately elasticity is equal to 1. And in the third case, the supply curve is extended x to the right of the origin, and here is more than the horizontal segment BC. Quantity supplied OC is more than the horizontal segment BC. So ultimately elasticity is less than 1. It is inelastic. So any supply curve that originates from the x-axis or the quantity supplied axis, we find that elasticity is inelastic. So a supply curve that originates from y-axis or price axis, price is always represented in the y-axis, quantity supplied always represented in the x-axis. So if the supply curve originates from the y-axis, then its elasticity is greater than 1. If it starts from origin, then supply elasticity is always equal to 1. And if it starts from the x-axis, then elasticity is inelastic or less than 1. Now if we find that supply curve is not a straight line or a curve, then what we shall do? This is a supply curve. It is not supply curve may not be always a straight line. It may be a curve also. If it is a curve, what we shall do? If we want to estimate elasticity at a particular point on the supply curve, we draw a tangent on that particular point. And we extend this tangent. Here in this case we find at this point this tangent intersects the x-axis to the left of the origin. And here if we estimate the price elasticity, horizontal segment will be more than the quantity supplied. So ultimately this elasticity at this point will be greater than 1. At this particular point, if we want to estimate the elasticity, this will be the tangent and it intersects the x-axis to the right of the origin. And if we estimate the elasticity, in this case the horizontal segment BC is less than OC, that is quantity supplied, and elasticity will be less than 1. This is how we estimate elasticity if the supply curve is a straight line or a curve. On any point we draw a tangent, and on the basis of the nature of the tangent we estimate the elasticity, and we say whether it is elastic, inelastic, or elasticity equal to 1 or unit elasticity. Any confusion? So this is the observation we can estimate, we can make from this geometric or point method, that if any supply curve that originates from the point of origin, elasticity is equal to 1. Any supply curve that originates from the point of origin, elasticity is equal to 1. Then if any supply curve originates from y-axis, straight line supply curve it should be, or if it is a curve we shall consider only the tangent. If any straight line supply curve originates from y-axis, elasticity is greater than 1. This is elastic. And if any straight line supply curve that originates from the x-axis, then elasticity is less than 1. These are the three observations we can make from the geometric or point method. Now there are certain determinants of elasticity of supply. Determinants means these factors that affect elasticity of supply. Now the first determinant is possibility of shifting from production. Possibility of shifting from production. If suppose easy shifting is not possible, then supply is elastic. Easy shifting means possibility of shifting from production. Any idea? Anybody tell me? Producers or suppliers, they produce and they make goods available in the market according to the price situation. If price is high, sellers they sell more, producers also they produce more. If the price comes down, they curtail production, and sellers ultimately they make less goods available in the market. Now, there are certain situations, or in case of certain production process, even if price goes up, production cannot be increased suddenly. And there are certain situations, if price comes down, then also production cannot be curtailed immediately. If one entrepreneur has installed a big factory, he is starting to produce a particular commodity. If price of the commodity comes down, he cannot immediately close down the industry and start producing another commodity, because there is a huge investment already being made for that production of this. A farmer, he already sows seeds for a particular crop. If the price comes down, he cannot immediately curtail the stop producing that particular commodity. So if the easy shifting is possible, then the producers can adjust their production, and ultimately supply can also be increased or decreased. But if the easy shifting is not possible, producers will produce same quantity as before, sellers will also make available same quantity, regular quantity as before. So the supply becomes inelastic. Inelastic means price goes up, there is less percentage change in the quantity supply. But if it is easy shifting is possible, if price goes up, more quantity will be coming into the market. If price comes down, less quantity means less production, and less quantity will be coming into the market. This is possible only when the production process can be adjusted to the changing price situation. If production process cannot be changed within a short period of time, easy shifting is not possible. There is difficulty in shifting from one crop to the other, one product to the other, then elasticity will be inelastic. Clear? Then another factor is the length of time. If for production of a particular commodity, if more time is required, the elasticity of supply will be elastic. Because in a long period of time, supply can be adjusted. More products can be produced, more services can also be offered. But if in a short period of time, the supply is to be increased, and if the length of the time period is very short, ultimately supply cannot be increased. If the demand for a particular agricultural product goes up, the farmers need certain time to produce or increase the production of that particular commodity. So supply cannot be adjusted immediately. It requires some time to produce. So length of the time is more. It requires more time. So the supply is, if the length of the time required is more, supply can be increased. But in a short period of time, if we demand increased supply, this is not possible. This will become inelastic. In a short period of time, we cannot produce agricultural products. But in a case of manufactured products, sometimes it is possible. In no time, we can produce more of a certain commodity. But certain other heavy machineries and all that also requires more time. We cannot produce more. In a short period, it will be inelastic, but if we provide time to the entrepreneurs to produce more, if we extend the length of the period of production, then this will be elastic, because in long period of time, more products will be coming into the market. Then nature of the commodities. In case of perishable goods, we cannot store it. Whatever, if the price goes up also or comes down also, we'll have to make the same quantity available in the market, because we cannot store it. But in case of durable goods, if the price comes down, we can withdraw from the market, from the supply, and we can build up stock. Because If we build up stock, we can wait for some time and expecting the price will rise and we'll sell later, because our product will not be perished. But in case of certain perishable agricultural products, if the price comes down, we shall have to sell same quantity as before, because if we store it, product will be lost and will not be able to sell it. So in case of perishable product, supply elasticity is inelastic, but in case of durable goods, it is always elastic, because we can store, we can wait for the price to rise. So ultimately supply can be adjusted to the increase or decrease in the price. In case of perishable products, we cannot make any sort of adjustments, because we shall have to sell it as before, even if price goes up or comes down. Next is behavior of cost of production. Behavior of cost of production. There are two types of behavior in case of production cost. Actually, there are three relationship between, in case of in case of cost, under cost concept: law of increasing cost, law of decreasing cost, law of constant cost. In case of law of increasing cost, we find the supply is inelastic. But in law of increasing cost is cost increases as we produce more. Cost increases as we produce more. But in this case, law of decreasing cost, cost decreases with increased supply. Then in that case, elasticity of supply will be elastic. Now, what is law of increasing cost and decreasing cost? Let me give you a small example. As for example, can you give me any idea of law of increasing cost? Give me a situation in which when you produce more, your cost of production increases. And another situation when you produce more, cost of production comes down. Do you find any situation? Think yourself and tell me. There are two situations normally a producer may find himself in. One is, if he produces more, per unit cost of production goes up. Another situation, per unit cost of production comes down. These are the two situations. If the per unit cost of production increases, then elasticity of supply, in that case it will be inelastic, because he will not produce more. If cost increases with increase in production, he will not produce more. And if he does not produce more, supply will be less than the changes in price. So this will be inelastic supply. Another situation, if the producers find that if he produces more, cost of production will come down, and that will be an incentive for him to produce more. If cost of production, per unit cost of production comes down, this is an incentive for him to produce more. So in that case, he will produce more and supply will increase and elasticity will be elastic. Fine. Now can you tell me two situations? What applicable hobo pare? Suppose I give you a situation. Suppose you are an entrepreneur, you want to produce bread. It's a very common item. That is why I am taking this. You have installed a bakery, and that particular bakery or oven, whatever it is, then it can produce 1,000 bread per run. Per run means if you use the oven once, it can produce 1,000 breads. Now what is the cost of production of bread? Just give me a hypothetical figure. Kiman poriba eta bread banaote? What it requires? Some maida, some other, say, what is called yeast-like things, that is baking soda or something. Then some minor ingredients. How much it will come? Cost one bread, maximum of 2 rupees, because it is sold at 10 rupees in the market. So cost of production definitely must be less than 10 rupees, and it also includes some amount of profit for the entrepreneur. So suppose that all ingredient costs and everything is 2 rupees, then for running the oven, electricity charges and other things are also there, right? So ultimately, this is sold at 10 rupees. Now, for running this oven once, electricity charges and all that, it cost 2,000 rupees. Labor, electricity and all that, it costs 2,000 rupees once the oven is run, right? So ultimately, if you produce one bread, your material cost is 2 rupees plus cost of running this oven one time will be how much? It will be how much? 2,000 rupees. Because one time if you run this oven, then electricity, labor, everything, it will cost 2,000 rupees. So the first bread cost how much rupees? 2,002 is your cost of production for one bread, is it not? This oven can produce 1,000 bread, but you are producing only one bread. That is why your cost is 2,002 rupees. If you produce this 2 breads at a time, your cost will be 2 plus 2, 4 rupees, plus this will remain same. This will not increase. One time running cost of this oven is 2,000 rupees because it can produce 1,000 bread also. But we are producing only 2 breads. So this will be 2,000. So 2,004. So cost of one bread will be how much? This divided by 2. 502. 1,002. 1,002. Third bread, 4 breads you produce. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2,000. How much this will be? 2,008. One bread cost how much? 502. 502. That means if you produce more, your cost of production, per unit cost of production gradually comes down. It is coming down. If you produce 1,000 breads, 1,000 into 2 plus 2,000. This becomes 4,000, right? Then per unit cost becomes 4 rupees. And you are selling at 10 rupees in the market. This is the law of decreasing cost. Cost decreases as you produce more. In that case, it will be elastic supply, because if the price of bread goes up, the sellers will produce more and more breads. Initially, suppose he produced 600 breads, that gives him a profit. If the price of bread goes up, he will produce more breads. He will produce more breads. Law of increasing cost, another situation. Suppose he is producing 1,000 breads already, and his cost of production is 4 rupees, he is selling at 10 rupees, making a profit of 6. The price, he has already achieved the maximum capacity production, 1,000 breads at one run. And then the demand for bread is also increasing in the market, and he finds that if he produces 1,010 breads also, that will also be sold. There is demand. Now, from 1,000 breads, if he starts producing one more bread, his cost will be how much? The first bread will cost you again 2002 rupees. Because for next one bread, after 1000 bread, he shall have to run this oven for one more time. That will cost you another 2000 rupees. Cost of the raw material is 2 rupees. So the 1001 number of bread will cost him 2002 rupees. So he will see whether it is profitable for him to, because 1002 breads he produce, then if he produces 1002 breads, his cost will be, for 1000, this will be 4000 rupees plus 2000 for next another 2 breads for 2004 rupees it will come. This will become 6004. Right? If in the next time if he produces small number of breads by running the oven one more time, his cost will gradually increase. So he said he may not go for that increased production. And in that case, this will be inelastic supply. Supply will become, even if the price goes up, he finds that there is no extra profit for producing additional 10 breads. Let me get the profit with 1000 bread production. So there are certain situations in the production process when the farmers face that law of increasing cost. Sometimes farmers face the law of decreasing cost as he produces more. So in case of decreasing cost, elasticity of supply is elastic. If in case of increasing cost, his elasticity of supply is inelastic. And in the next case factor is the risk taking. If the farmer, entrepreneur is a risk taker, he may take the risk and go for increased production. In that case, this will be elastic because there will be increased production. If suppose that entrepreneur is risk averter, he doesn't want to take risk, he is satisfied with the present level of profit. So even if price goes up, he will not increase his production. So in that case, this will be inelastic. A farmer, if the price of the product he produces goes up, he has got two options, whether to go for increased production or not. If he thinks that no, if I go for increased production or cultivate more area, if the crop is damaged by flood or insect or some other problem, then my additional profit that I expect, that may be lost. So let us produce whatever I am producing right now. He is a risk averter. Another entrepreneur, he takes the risk, he goes for increased production. He will get the profit. So in that case, supply will increase and it will be elastic supply.